Good morning. All right, everyone. Welcome. I am throwing out the Nearpod link. If you guys can jump on that, that'd be awesome. But today we're going to go over natural disasters. And just so you know, this lesson is being recorded for learning purposes. And real quick, just my expectations as we're going through class. Make sure you're following along with the Nearpod lesson. If you're not able to get onto the link, just make sure you're trying to answer through the chat, doing the best you can there, all that good stuff. Make sure you're using the chat tool respectfully and appropriately. Not too much in this class, but sometimes there's just topics that become controversial, all that kind of stuff, and we just want to be respectful of everybody. And then also respond to questions and instructions the first time as we're rolling here, okay? All right, before we get going, this is actually our first live class. So last Monday we had, it was a day off just because switching of the blocks. And so this is kind of a new class for you guys. I did post a recording right here to the announcement page. You can also find this in your content too. But I kind of just want to kind of give you a rundown. If you haven't had a class from me yet, I teach like, I don't know, 7 or 8 different classes at Utah Virtual. So you may have had me before. This may be the first one, but you'll probably have more coming up. So just to kind of get used to my class. Oh, you haven't had me before? Well, awesome. Welcome. You'll probably have me. You're probably a freshman, I'm assuming. But I got a lot of classes. Yep, that's probably why. I got a lot of classes I teach, so you'll probably hit me up in one of those too. I always post the recordings right to the announcement page, so you have that right there. If we jump over to course plan real quick, we'll see how slow this is. Okay. Let me just go to this next thing. So we'll have live class every Monday at 11:30, except for days that we have off, right? Whatever I assign here is going to be due like on Friday. And so then I usually update your grade over the weekend and we kind of go again. So for example, whatever we learned today is due Friday. Because last week was there, I sent out the recorded lesson and it was due, you had the pre-test and lesson 1 quiz. If you didn't do those, just go back and do them, okay? Gonna still give you credit for it. Don't just leave me hanging. Let's do it, okay? So we'll do that. And then just a reminder that next week is spring break. So please take that off. Enjoy. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's been really weird, kind of the mouse, how it kind of flickers a little bit. So I'm trying to, you may have to watch the recording. Hopefully the recording's a little bit better if it's that bad. I am definitely excited for spring break as well. I need it. If you are possibly, okay, a part-time student or you are graduating, you're going to need to get everything done by May 1st, okay? So you're going to have to jump on before and get everything done, okay? If not, you have all the way till like, I think like the 24th to get things done. And you'll be good there, okay? So that's kind of a little bit up things. As you go into content where you're looking at your stuff, you should already be done with Unit 1. If you haven't done it, watch the recording or do the Nearpod lesson link, okay? And then you have the quiz 1, and then you also have the pre-test right here. Pre-test, you get participation points for just doing it. So might as well do it, right? Oh, so somebody asked if I have a wireless mouse. I'm actually hooked into a docking station with my computer, and it's a wired mouse. So it's actually not wireless. But yeah, it's weird how it's kind of trippy a little bit. Okay. All right, let's hit over, I guess, first of all, any other questions on how the class works, how we roll there? It's pretty simple, right? Classes on Monday, just get everything done during the week, post things. Quizzes or assignments, you can do them as many times as you like to get the grade you want. I'm not concerned about that. Just make sure you have everything done by the end of the block. No worries that you're late. Any questions on that? Okay. This class is chill. All right. I promise you it won't be too bad. So what we're talking about today is we're talking about natural disasters, okay? So basically your exit ticket or assignment, whatever you want to call it, you're going to basically choose a natural disaster that you've heard about or that you've seen recently or something like that. And you're going to research it a little bit, write a little bit about it, and you're going to get credit for it. It's going to be super easy. So let me just kind of show you right here. So if you look into this assignment thing, I'll preview it real quick for you. It's going to look just like this. What natural disaster interests you or that kind of stuff? The natural disaster that you chose above, in what country did the natural disaster most occur in? So if there's like something that, so for example, let's see here, what's something? I heard about some earthquakes not too long ago. It was there one in Syria and some in Turkey? Okay. So that was something that you could do. So if you wanted to look at earthquake, you do earthquake and you basically say, hey, this happened in Turkey and Syria area. And then you just need to, because hopefully you watched the first lesson, but we talked about the 5 themes of geography. Okay. And one of those is human environment interaction. Okay. And human environment interaction is how the environment interacts with humans and how humans interact with the environment, right? So for example, we cut down trees to make houses. So therefore we're interacting with the environment. We dam up rivers so we can get water and irrigate and grow things. That's how we interact. But the environment interacts with us too, right? Through earthquakes. Somebody said thunderstorms. Thunderstorms wouldn't be big enough to be like what we call a natural disaster. Okay. So for example, we're going to go over some natural disasters. Maybe that will lead right into what we're doing right now, because we're going to go over distinguish kind of what a natural disaster. So a tropical storm, that could be the biggest thing that we're looking at for natural disasters is it changes the way humans have to live, as well as it changes the way the environment looks. For example, earthquake, right? It shakes and it creates cracks and it changes the way people live. A tropical storm, right, could possibly, if it causes enough like flooding and it's caving in banks, all of that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah. So floods. So think about all of the snow we're getting right now. Okay. So all the snow we're getting right now, that could lead to flooding, right? That's one thing they're really worried about. Forest fires would be another one, right? You could cause for like avalanches too. That changes the way things, or mudslides, stuff like that. So we're going to go over a lot of those today and kind of what you can kind of see there. All right. So talk about what is a natural disaster. So for those on the Nearpod, we kind of described that just a second ago, but oh well, throw up what some natural disasters are. I should have waited. I didn't realize it was all in the slides. I forgot. So throw up some things. I know you guys already knew that. Okay, tornado. Yeah, that's a good one. There was a tornado not too long ago I read about in was it Louisiana maybe? Okay. Okay, volcanoes I like. Earthquakes are good examples. Tsunamis, yeah. tropical storms, hurricanes, tsunamis, a huge disaster that greatly impacts areas in environments such as earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards. Perfect. Hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, droughts. I like that one. Okay. Very good. It's funny how like we were all in a drought, right? And like 4 months later, now we're all worried about flooding. So something that changes the environment and how humans interact. Perfect. That's exactly what I just said. You must have been listening. Tornadoes, earthquakes, blizzards. Yeah. So my kids and I were up skiing not too long ago, and man, we got into like a huge, just all of a sudden this blizzard. It was pretty cool. Landslides, something that changes the way humans live or why they environment looks or acts. Like it. Okay. All right, cool. And so that just basically gives a distinguish, right? The way the world's always changed, that kind of stuff. And they can change fast, right? I was watching a documentary of how they believe that 12,500 years ago that there was just basically it warmed up so quickly that the ice sheet that was in Canada ran through and caused like all these crazy things that happened. And it was like 2 weeks and they created these big, huge, giant canyons. So just amazing stuff can happen just all of a sudden. Okay, so some things we already talked about all these. I think we talked about all of them. So good job knowing your natural disasters. You just want the warmth. I hear you. I'm a warm person, so I'd rather be on a beach somewhere, but there. Okay, so we're going to watch this a little bit about natural disasters and some things that happen there. So
natural disasters are part of the way the planet works. In the ideal world, we would all live in places that aren't affected by natural hazards. We wouldn't live near coastlines. We wouldn't live along the San Andreas Fault in California. We wouldn't live underneath the volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest. But we live where our homes are. I mean, those are the places that are important to us. And then there are many people that don't have choices. The museum is presenting this exhibit to describe these events to people so they have a better understanding of earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, hurricanes, and tornadoes. But more
watching this with the Nearpod, what do you guys think? Which of the 4 natural disasters that were mentioned is the most relevant to Utah? Okay, and I think you guys are all right on the ballpark, right? Earthquakes are the ones we probably have to be the most worried about. Do any of you guys, I mean, it was probably, it was like during COVID, I think, or right before it. Did you guys all feel that earthquake that happened in, where was it? Yeah, I was awake. I was going like right out of the gym and like Magna, that's right. That's where it was. Magna, Salt Lake. And it was like, yeah, I felt it. And I'm up north, up by Ogden, and I felt it shake the whole building that I was in. It was crazy. So, yeah, earthquakes would be the one that we need to worry about the most.
But more than that, to begin thinking about the risks associated with them. As climate warms, we expect there to be more severe storms, more severe droughts, more wildfires, and to some extent, over the last decade, we've seen just that. There's no way we're going to avoid the natural hazards on a dynamic Earth, but there are certainly ways that we can learn to live with it to mitigate the risks to society.
All right. So see, we need to like have to be able to live with these things. Fortunately, they happen quite a bit, but there's nothing we can do because there's always going to be some type of natural disaster no matter where we live. All right, so here's a little definition on volcanoes. If volcanoes is something you want to research. Little definition on earthquakes. And I'm going to open up these slides at the very end for you guys and go back if you want to, or you can look at them in the asynchronous Nearpod link. We got cyclones, hurricanes, tornadoes, typhoons. Avalanches. Okay, that's something that happened. That was in the news recently too, about somebody that passed away from being in an avalanche. And with the way things are snowing and freezing all the time, especially right now in Utah, it's pretty wild, right? Flooding. Okay, we talked about we're going to probably look at a lot of flooding possibly this next year. I already know that a lot of people basements are starting to flood. I'm lucky I don't have a basement actually, because all my neighbors do, and they're probably there. Your garage is flooded a bit already. Dang, and it hasn't even started melting. Well, I hope it doesn't get up that high that it gets my main floor. If it does, I'm in trouble. So just have to, hopefully everything will be all right, you know. Drought, okay? That was something before we got all this snow and stuff like that. We're worried about a drought. But you have 2 feet flooded in your basement right now? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be facing that. I know my father-in-law's house, they said they have like a couple inches in their basement. So it's going to free pool. I'm not sure I'd want to go in that. So, well, good luck to everybody out there. Hopefully flooding doesn't hit you. All right. Fires, bushfires, right? That was something, we're going to watch a video real quick about all of the earthquakes or all the natural disasters that happened in 2020, which were crazy. There's a ton. And that was only the first like 5 months. And one was the big brush fires, if you remember that, in Australia. Yeah, kangaroos running around trying to get burnt. It was crazy. So, okay. So we're going to watch this. This is about 4 minutes, but I think it'd be a good example of just being able to see all of the different stuff that could happen and give you some thoughts about what you want to do on your assignment, okay? Because remember, you just have to pick a natural disaster, find out where it's happened recently or something you want to research, and then write a little bit about how it affected humans and the environment. So, okay, let's play this.
Okay, I'm just trying to check the intensity or the speed of the wind, and I'm applying full strength to try and open this. It's a bit hard. Oh God.
All right. Well, as somebody said, all those poor people. Yeah. Pretty crazy, just kind of how things work. But yeah, we are very lucky to be aware. But natural disasters do happen, and so we'll just have to deal with them and how they affect us, and we just have to work together as a community and do that. So we kind of talked about this a little bit already, but what are the most current natural disasters that you heard about? Okay. One in Turkey for me. Okay. Forest fires in Australia. That happened a while ago. The forest fires in Australia, but that was in 2020. But yeah. But they're happening all the time, right? If you watch the news, you'll see that there's just a lot. Honestly, not sure. Okay. Hurricanes Florida and Texas, yep. Floods in California. Hurricane Ian, yep. I remember Hurricane Ian, yep. Wildfires, a tornado in Missouri. Yeah. That happened just recently. That's where I was thinking. For some reason, I said Mississippi or something, or Louisiana. I can't remember. They all run together. Storms and hurricane in Florida. Food prices going up. Yeah. And sometimes the food prices going up, it's because for example, eggs, right? Because there was a disease kind of running through the chickens and the chickens were dying, right? It made food prices go up. So, I mean, things like that, like the coronavirus, like there's debate whether it was man-made or natural. I don't know. Like who knows? But I mean, that did affect us, right? And it kind of came through, and it happened like a natural disaster a little bit. Buried homes in Northern California. Oh yeah, I saw that on the news too. Like the homes were buried in Northern California because they're not used to all the snow either, right? So nobody was prepared for it. That's one thing. Crazy things happen. So, and water's like $4 sometimes. Yeah, I mean, these natural disasters cause like food to rise. They cause, that's how it affects us, right? And that's what we're really just trying to get in, kind of for the lesson there. So for your assignment, once again, right, you're just going to go in here, lesson 2 assignment, choose a natural disaster, one that we've talked about or one that we didn't talk about. Find out where it kind of happened last or an area where you thought you were kind of researching. And then just how did that affect the natural environment as well as the people in that area, okay? So pretty simple there. That's what you got to do. If you guys have any questions, this is my contact information. Appreciate you guys joining me for the lesson. Our lessons are probably only going to be about half hour long each time. But I'll stick around after if you guys have any questions or need help on anything. But I'm going to stop the recording now, and I'll answer any questions you might have.